Well, this year, like I said, I took my business and I went like this. I got rid of everything basically but postcards. Welcome back to SMPostcards YouTube channel. Today, got the 4 things as normal. I'm going to go through what's sold on eBay. I only sell on eBay now. I got rid of Etsy, Hip, the whole works. I just do eBay. And I'll go through and show you some of the cards. I sold 12 cards. And you'll see the variety of those cards. Then I have a special topic of a special postcard. Olympic Games postcards or Olympic postcards. This was kind of different to go out there because they're, you know, Olympics happen every so often on a regular schedule. But there's so many different cards out there and so many different advertisements and stuff. It took me a little bit to get through, to get the details a little bit, but we'll go through there and we'll talk about the history of the Olympics. And then a topic that's near and dear to my heart: what do you put in your listing descriptions? Nowadays, eBay does a lot of that for you, and people still think that's going to get them sales. Now I'll give you go through the poll we did, some comments from viewers, and then I'll give you my spin on it, what I think of it, and how I do it. And then we got some viewer comments to go over at the end. I picked a little bit more because I got a lot of comments from the scanner video, the 580W, the new scanner I got, and stuff like that. So I figured I wanted to grab a little bit more, but they're real quick ones. So stick around to the end of the video and we'll talk about those. But let's go through what's sold real quick. And this is just eBay. Nothing special. I don't do anything special on anybody else. And I sell basically divided back to chrome cards. That's my niche. The lower, not the bottom feeder cards, you know, birthday cards and stuff. I try to stay with the average cards. And while I'm doing that, I do find some other cards that I know of that are better. Like this one. Now this is a little bit out of what I normally do, but this was in my special folder. This sold for $6.88. I think I had it for $7.65, and I sent a 10% offer. But this is a real photo, little inset there with some writing. And what caught my eye, it was a grave. It's actually a grave. And then there's a American flag on there, right up there. But what caught my eye, and I put it in my special folder to do a little bit more with this, and said, this is a picture I took of Grandpa's grave on Decoration Day. A part of Grandma's can be seen into the right. So that's the grave, and a little bit can be seen to the right. So somebody wrote that when they're at their grandfather's grave. So I put that in the title, Grandpa's Grave. And it sat out there probably 3-4 months, and it sold for $6.88. But that's what that is. It was posted, I'm not for sure, but it's a real photo postcard of Grandpa's grave. So they do sell. It just takes a little bit of time to get everything, people to see it, find that right person. Next one is sold 2 cards for $23.30. This is a real photo of the view of Morris Canal, Hackensack, New Jersey. Just a canal. Next one is a swimming hole with a bunch of boys. I think it's some kind of camp or something, but it's in Hackettstown, New Jersey, and it came from that buy I did with all the cabinets and stuff. And with that thing, people have asked me, did you get your money back for that? I got my money back within a week. I listed all the items from the albums. If you watch that video, you'll see the ones in the album. I went ahead and did those. I'm not a big sorter. I sort as I list. But I wanted to make sure I get those cards because they were put in the album for a reason, so they don't get lost in the mix. I won't get to those other cards until sometime next year. I listed those cards, and there was a couple towns. One was called P-Pack, P-E-A, Pack, New Jersey, and then Hackettstown was another big one, and I found some other things, some $25 cards and stuff, but that basically paid for a lot. The other stuff is average, and there might be a few good things left in there. But this is a swimming hole. A lot of boys with the camp sitting there swimming, and this was posted in 1935, and it's a real photo postcard. So both of those cards sold for $23.30. That's when just a motel scene, Vanderbilt or YMCA. I put up like 700 YMCAs. So anybody looking for YMCA, they're gonna get my store. I got 700 of them out there. A lot of them are priced $465 to $565 because there wasn't a lot to them. Some of them are more, a little bit more, but there wasn't any really major stuff in there, but they're all average cards. I paid very little for them, and they're just all out there sitting there. But that's sold between $4 and $5. Prospect Avenue, Milwaukee. I have a video coming out on Main Street postcards. And that's important because Main Street, there's a Main Street almost every town, and they do very well. And you'll see the pricing as I go through that video on Main Streets. Next one, this is God's Country. This is Hondo, Texas, Hondo, H-O-N-D-O. Just a sign, chrome card, $4 to $5. This is another one from that cabinet haul. This is the new DC-4 Super Mainliner at Newark Airport. It's not a real photo. It's nope, it's a chrome card printed. You can tell from the back a little bit. That's sold for $8.65, full price. Next one is United States Mint, New Orleans. People collect mints. Want to make sure you get that in the title. United States Mint, Philadelphia, Denver, New Orleans. Just a white border card, unposted. That's sold between $4 and $5. Next one is another one from that cabinet haul. This is the Public School number 5, Patterson, New Jersey. That's another name that popped up, Patterson, New Jersey. And this one sold for $12.65, full price. The comps were coming back about half of that, but I knew this was a school. I just felt something about it, so I doubled the price to see what it does, and I got full price for it. Next one is a Hawaii card, blowhole. We actually saw this blowhole when we were in Hawaii. Chrome card, $5 to $6. Next one is a bank, Barnett Bank. I did a video on banks, so you want to look at that one, and it's in Highland Country. Not for sure exactly where it's at. I don't want to read all that stuff on the back, but that's a bank, chrome card, $4 to $5. I was just putting a video together sometime next year for dinosaur postcards I'll be doing. And one of the things that caught my mind was Sinclair Dinosaur, the oil company, and also Wall Drug postcards. And guess what I sold? Like a half hour later, I sold a Wall Drug postcard. Do you think it knows what I'm doing? I don't know. There's someone watching. That's Wall Drug. I always pick up Wall Drug. They don't sell for a lot sometimes, but they do move. So Wall Drug is on Route 66. And I'll be putting that into the dinosaur video coming after the first of the year. And Boldy Road Pickers are like that. He's our resident doctor of anthropology or dinosaurs. Paleontologist, I think, Chris? Let us know in the comments what your full title is on there, but he likes dinosaurs. But I sold 12 cards for $84.53. My average sale price was $7.04. So I was 2 under my goal of 14. That's fine. I'm still running 13 to 14 for the year, so I picked a good goal. And then I'm over $70. I'm at $84.53, and my ASP this year has went up. So everything moved in the right direction this year so far. Everything's working the way that I want it. Now let's get into the special topic of Olympic postcards. Olympics, it just something we used to watch a lot more when I was a kid. It's gotten a little political, more than I would like with things. And some of the enhancements, the technology stuff has taken some of the fun out of it for me because I knew what it was before, but I still watch some of it. I remember we used to watch the skiing with Wild Wild World of Sports on, I think it was Channel 7 here. That was a neat thing. We used to watch the Olympics and the ice skating my mom liked. But I haven't watched a lot of it anymore. Maybe the next one comes around, maybe I'll have time to do that. But I'm going to go through some history of the Olympics, and I'm going to show you some postcards like I normally do of what I found with Olympic postcards. The Olympics is an ancient sporting event that has long and fascinating history. It all started over 2,700 years ago in ancient Greece. The Greeks believed that physical fitness was important, so they held the Olympics as a way to honor the gods and showcase their athletic abilities. The ancient Olympics took place every 4 years in the city of Olympia. I wonder where that name came from. The athletes from different Greek city-states would compete in events like running, wrestling, chariot racing. The games were a big deal and brought people from all over Greece together. They were so important that wars would even be paused during the Olympics to allow athletes and spectators to travel safely. That's amazing. After many years, the ancient Olympics eventually came to an end, but the spirit of the games were revived in the modern era. In 1896, the first modern Olympic Games were held in Athens, Greece. This marked the beginning of the modern Olympics that we know today. Since then, the Olympics have been held every 4 years, with different countries hosting the Games each time. Athletes from all over the world come together to compete in a wide range of sports, including swimming, gymnastics, track and field, and many more. The Olympics have become a symbol of unity as athletes from different countries come together to celebrate their love for sports and compete for gold, silver, and bronze medals. It's a global event that brings people together and promotes friendship and fair play among nations. Olympic postcards are a beloved tradition among athletes, fans, and collectors alike. These postcards are specifically designed to commemorate the Olympic Games and capture the spirit of the event. They often feature iconic Olympic symbols such as the Olympic rings, the host city's landmarks, and images of athletes in action. Olympic postcards serve as souvenirs, allowing people to share their Olympic experience with friends and family around the world. Whether it's a picture view of the Olympic Stadium, a snapshot of an athlete's triumphant moment, or a glimpse into the vibrant atmosphere of the Games. Olympics postcards are a tangible reminder of the excitement, unity, and global celebration that Olympics bring. I got 2 facts here I found about the Olympics. The 1900 Olympics in Paris featured some truly bizarre events. One of them was called poodle clipping, where contestants were judged on their ability to give poodles fashionable haircuts. Poodle clipping in the Olympics? Another strange event was live pigeon shooting, where participants had to shoot as many pigeons as possible. Fortunately, these odd events were short-lived and were never included in future Olympics Games. So poodle clipping and live pigeon shooting. How do you think that would go out today? And the last fact, in the 1900 Olympics in Paris, there was a peculiar event called pistol dueling. Participants in the event were required to shoot mannequins dressed as soldiers, and judges would assess their accuracy. The event was short-lived and appeared only in that particular edition of the Olympics. It remains one of the stranger events in Olympic histories. So if you want to read about odd stuff, I think the 1900 Olympics in Paris would have it. But can we win gold, silver, or bronze with these postcards? Do they even sell? Do you look for Olympic postcards? Have you seen them? So here's my little gauge that I put up in my head, what I think of sell-through rate and what I pick up. Red, 0 to 3, I don't do anything with. And then you got the 4 to 8, 8 to 10. The green is where I pretty well look, and then you get into the very high is when you're looking for the other ones pop in. But you got to know what to look for. But just as we go through, just refer to this gauge up here. But the sell-through rate for Olympics Games, sold divided by listed times 100, gives you a percent, and I round up and down, is what this gives me. It's just a rough estimate, nothing scientific about it. I'm not going to get down to the last card. I just want it to fall in one of these ranges. Is it something I look at? If it's red, I'm not picking it up. If I'm looking at a white box and it's full of items, sell-through rates in my head that I know are red, I'm not going to pay a lot for that box, or I'm not going to pick it up. I'll move on to the next one. But if there's a lot of average cards in there, I'll start at the average price I like to pay. If there's a lot of good stuff in there, the higher ones, I might go a little bit more to make sure I get the deal. Always put the chips in your corner when buying lots of postcards or buying postcards as many times as you can. You have to get these cards for a lower price than what you sell them for. There's too many fees and taxes and stuff, and what we sell these for, the margins are so slim, you have to start when you buy. If you buy wrong, then you got to price wrong, and then they won't sell because they're too high priced. There's too much competition. There's 7 to 9 million postcards out there. Don't worry about the 99-cent auction ones. That's a different I don't even look at those, or the really high priced ones. You want to look at your average sellers out there, what's going on there. So if you buy wrong, you're going to price wrong, and they're not going to sell. You always get those outliers, that 100-year flood. Someone will come in and buy a card that you priced up high, but that's that one-time seller. I don't base my business on that. I price cards as low as possible because I don't promote a lot. I buy them right. I don't have a lot of overhead. I don't have debt with my business, and I pay for everything. Everything's there, so I don't have all that overhead. There's eBay fees, there's taxes, I pay quarterly taxes, I have insurance on my stuff, so all that's got to be worked into the price. So I can't do a lot of stuff, but I want to move cards. My goal is to move cards. If I lose 50 cents on 10 cards, that's fine, because I bought them right, but I moved 5 cards. It's called cash flow. You got to have cash coming in. If you're waiting for the last dime on everything, your ka-chings are not going to come as often, and you're not going to get the cash to pay your bills. The average cards pay the bills. The higher priced ones are nice to have, but you're going to wait a little bit. Play the waiting game with those while you sell your other ones. Don't price them so low. If you price them real low, you're going to get the people that buy low, and some of those people come with baggage, rough edges. They're going to try to lowball you and stuff. Stay at a level that keeps away from those people. You're always going to get people looking for a deal. I don't do best offer. Someone asked me a question, hey, you take $2.50, I delete the message. I'm not going to argue about $1 or 50 cents. If it's a higher price card, yeah, I'll look at it, but I'm not going to argue about 50 cents to $1. When said and done, go buy it from somebody else that's cheaper and take your baggage with you. I'm not going to, do I miss a sale? Sure. But is it worth the sale? No, not to me. Not the way I'm set up. But Olympics games, I just went out there and put Postcard Olympic Games. That seemed to come out with a good thing. I had to get rid of some things in there. People put things in the wrong category or whatever. Or eBay gives me something that's not there. 1,400 were sold in the last 90 days. 12,000 listed. Times it by 100 gives you 12%. Not bad. More than I thought it would be. I think it's select games. So you want to be careful. It says 12%, but you might want to go a little bit deeper and just see which Olympics are selling. There were some better Olympics than other Olympics. The Winter Olympics I saw seemed to do a little bit better than some of the other ones. Depends on the country too. People are going to buy for their country. But I bounced against some other major sporting events. Super Bowl, Postcard Super Bowl. There's only 43 listed, I found. 280, I think I ran that a couple times. People are not putting it correctly in the title. Times about 115%. That's not bad for Super Bowl. There's some loyal football fans out there. Olympics were 12. World Series, baseball, 12%. Still up there. Then the Rose Bowl, I got a little detailed on one event. It was only 7%. So if you do like World Series, bigger event, you get a little bit more, but if you do one event like Rose Bowl, you get 7%. So the sporting is a good place to be. Now, I don't do sports cards. I stay away from them. I have a friend that does all that. If I get postcard boxes of cards and stuff, I just give them to him, Steve, and he can take it from there. I just don't do. One person told me you're either in sports cards, magic cards, Pokemon cards, or you're not. You don't want to just dip your toe in. Now, I do look at Garbage Pail Kids, Wacky Packages, those types of novelty things. But I don't do Pokemon, I don't do Magic the Gathering, and I don't do sports cards. I don't care if they're graded or whatever. Mickey Mantle's hotel postcard, yes, I'll look at that. But and if it's a postcard with sports, I would look at that. But all the other sports cards, it's not my market. I can't do everything. So we're running about 12% on sell-through rate, which isn't bad. But check your games. Which ones are selling? Go into eBay, just type in Postcard Olympic Games, sort it by high to low, and just look at which ones. So you have an idea. Oh, I sold a postcard. It is Bear Delton, Michigan. Some town. $465. And they paid. So another card down. That's sell-through rate. But is there any high-priced Olympic cards? I figured they've been doing this forever, right? There's got to be some higher ones out there. So I went out and looked, and I found some extreme pricing, I call them. Higher than normal high. This one here, Olympic Games, Greece, 1906. What other thing in 1906 hits my mind with dates? California earthquake, 1906. But this is 1906 Olympic Games, Greece, Intercollegiate Games original postcard. It was an auction for 8 bids, $138. That's not bad. Then you got the 1936 Mint Germany postcard. Now, I wouldn't put mint, very good, and stuff in postcards. That's a very judgmental terms. What my mint and your mint is totally different. Germany postcard, Berlin Olympic Games roster. $85 best offer. So probably 75, 80. That's not bad. So the older ones, 1930s, 1906 so far. Then you got a 1908 one here. Olympic Games, the marathon, longboat. Darando Petrie original postcard, 6 bids in an auction, $72. So I think some of the older Olympics get the higher prices. So you want to check those out. Then you get into normal stuff we see all the time. This is high pricing, I call it. The other one was extreme. I don't base my comps on that unless I have those cards. This is where I base the comps on, but not the low I'm going to show you. I look at the highs and try to figure out what it is on a... I don't spend that on Olympic cards unless they're older. I probably won't spend that much time comping. I look for the average. I go a little bit above. Boom, I'm on to my next card. Depends what I paid for that card, but most of my cards I paid less than a nickel this year. This one is a 1952 Olympic Games, Helsinki. Now the other ones we want are 1900s, 1906, 1908, and 1930s, and this is 1952, so 20 years difference. So $19.22. And this is coming from United Kingdom to the States. That's not a bad shot. It's out of action. It's got a horse. It's got a jockey on it. So 1922. I'd do it. Then you look at the next one, Olympic Games, boats. Took best offer on $11.50 on $12. $10 maybe. Still not bad for a card that you probably picked up for a nickel or something. And then you got Squaw Valley Winter Olympic Games Lake Tahoe Arena Vintage Postcard. $9.99. Took a best offer maybe $7.50. They're average high cards to me. I know they're not out of my range to sell. They're not going to be that difficult to sell at that price. But then you got the lows. You got the $1.88, the $3.20, and the $3 ones. People are just throwing these things up there, and I can't sell cards at that price, as I said. So I don't even put these into my thinking. And I don't go out and buy these cards from people either. I don't go out and cherry pick eBay. I don't need the inventory like that. But some people do that. They go out and find a card and buy it from another person. I'm not that person right now. I don't need that type of inventory. Have I done it here and there? Yeah, when I saw a card that I wanted, a local card to my area, I picked the cheapest one up I could. But I haven't really went out and sourced that way on eBay on stuff. But if I do see something pop up, and they do, hey, what I know and they don't know, I'll pick it up. But I don't target them. If it's somebody I know, I'll let them know, hey, you might want to raise that card up. But then some people get really upset when you question what they did. And they just need to get over it. That's Olympics. Go for gold, silver, or bronze. I like to go for gold as much as possible. Who knew? Then we're going to get into the poll. So I'm not going to win gold on this one probably. Might be in the bronze. But I put out a poll every Saturday morning. It's on the community tab in the channel, the YouTube channel. If you go to the YouTube channel, SMPostcards, it says community, it'll be there. If you're on your phone, it usually pops up on your phone. They're just real easy polls. If you vote, I don't know who you are. If you leave a comment, it leaves your name in there. And it could be in a video. If you want to send me something more private, then send it to contact@smpostcards.com. I have a special email system just for YouTube in my eBay business. Everything goes there, away from my personal, so I can see it. If I did not get back to you, send it again. It might have got trapped somewhere, but I'm pretty good about it getting back to people. But if I missed you, it's not because I didn't want to reply, it's maybe I didn't see it. Even with the comments in YouTube, I've saw one person ask me, where's my comment? I go, I don't see it in here. So sometimes they don't make it. So if you don't see your comment in there, just reply and put another one in or something like that. It's not me banning people or whatever like that. Now, if there's a comment in political comments and stuff like that, they will block stuff like that. And if the comment is not relevant to the video and it's not conducive to where I run the channel, I will cut that message out. I try to keep it clean. It's not a place there. If you want to do things like that, just send me an email and I'll delete the email. So we're not here for that type of stuff. But make sure you subscribe so you see these polls, and hit the notifications so you see them when I put them. I use the community tab a lot. That's how I communicate with you through the channel. Is just watch for the community and the little polls and messages come up from there. I'm constantly sending stuff out. I have stuff scheduled. There's quizzes that come out on Thursdays. There's coming soon. Little things to tell you what's coming. There's polls. Just a lot of stuff and on there. Now, this poll was, what do you put in your listing description section on eBay? And I thought about this when I put it together. So the first one was title only. I'm one that's I create the title, Postcard, Lincoln Log Cabin, Springfield, Illinois. I put that title. I cut and paste that title into my description. That's all I put in there, in the description. On phones, I believe, on mobile phones, you actually have, they don't see the description unless you click on something. So they don't even see it, and most people don't read them anyway. The only time I put something different into the description, if there's a corner tear or something like that, I put it in the condition statement, and I also will put corner tear bottom right. That's all I put in there. I don't put stuff about payments, all this other stuff. No one reads this stuff. And a lot of people think people do. There might be those people out there that might read it, but you don't want to sell to some of the people that get all involved. So title only was 15%. Now the title, item description, and shipping info, 21%. eBay gives you the shipping info. There's a shipping tab. If you set up your store correctly or your listing correctly, all that's in there. You don't need to repeat it. eBay is trying to take this stuff away from you putting in the description. They even recommend not to put this stuff in the description. People on eBay know they're just looking at the price anyway. That was 21%. Then the next one is title, item description, shipping info, and payment information. We're going to look at a couple examples I found in a minute. 8%. Then just item details, 29%. So people just put the item details. Then other, 27%. So people are using the description thing in there. And eBay does say a good description will help you sell things to a point. In the postcards world, you don't need to put all this stuff in the description. People have templates. I mean, I've seen pages, and one we're going to see here in a minute. They don't manage them. Once they put it out there, they're not managed. It's just something else you got to go change if something changes. But I had 4 comments I pulled from this. Margaret said, just depends on the item and how much detail I think it's needed. Don't overthink it. Description, there's a little checkbox at the search bar that says they can check and search description in eBay. Right under the thing, there's a little checkbox. I don't think it's used that often. People are just typing in Postcard Illinois, Postcard Abraham Lincoln. They're not checking that box on there. But I wouldn't overthink description. Then Kat D said, I used to put a lot of stuff in the description. Well, a few things, not like a book of junk like some people do. I slowly over the years have changed that. Now just the item info and that is it. Less is more. Yes, I used to talk about less is more for years in management. Do not load other people's, don't give them the ammo to load their guns to do stuff. Less is more. Answer the question. A lot of my emails when I worked in the corporate environment, a lot of people laugh because it was yes or no. I didn't elaborate that often on things because I didn't want all the conversations. You asked me a question, I answered it. Sometimes I didn't even answer, or I'd pick up the phone and call them. It was easier to do it that way. I'm very simplistic in that manner. I'm not going to be all dragged out on stuff to prove a point. You asked me a question, I answered. Yes or no. There's no maybes. I don't live in that maybe world. It's yes or no. It's the way I'm wired. So less is more is a good thing. Descriptions need to be as long as they need to be. Titles and descriptions need to be as long as they need to be. That's it. It's Abraham Lincoln's log cabin in Springfield, Illinois postcard. What else are you going to put on there? You're going to count the logs and stuff? What are people searching on? That's it. Then Bo DeGros Picker said he puts the title. I mentioned the size again. Don't need to. People, if it's a standard postcard, I have my template set up. It's 3.5 by 5.5. Now, if it's a continental, sometimes I will put that in the description just to make sure people know. I don't put it in the title. I don't put damage in my title and all that stuff. I want people to get down and look at the card. You put it in the title, they're not even going to click on a lot. But continentals, once in a while, if it's oversized or an odd size, trimmed. A lot of times I won't list trimmed cards. But the title is an item specific. Just set up your template. Most people know a standard postcard, and they're happy with continentals most of the time as well. They want the subject on the card. They're not. And will it fit in their book? 6 by 4 to 5, and standard size. Most people know. If it's oversized, you want to probably put something in there. Especially it's an odd size. Yes. So he says it here. It's an odd size. And I put the image scan resolution. There's no need to put the scan. eBay will take that scan resolution to what they want. A lot of people don't even understand what the resolution is. I've never had anybody question me on the pictures. Never. And I've scanned them at 200 to 600 to whatever, and no questions. So you can save a little time there, and which I'm sure is unnecessary. So he's answering my questions. I got you, Chris. He's just doing it. And remember, this is the guy that digs up dinosaurs, so he's very detailed. But it's the template, so it's not like I type it out every time. Nope, he has it in there. He just needs to go change it and stuff like that. It's in the eBay templates. You can put all that stuff in there, but you want to look at it. Don't load it up, because you might have to change some of it if you put date-specific stuff in there, time-specific stuff in there. You want evergreen titles where it will last forever. And you're going to see examples of this in a second where eBay made changes. And if you have 10,000 postcard listings out there, you got to change 10,000 listings. I'm not going to do that. Now, there is a way to do it in bulk edit and stuff, but it's not clean, let me tell you that. Thanks, Bolden. Then Rad Center, item description including detailed description of condition, measurements, boilerplate message telling buyers to check out my other listings, offer combined shipping on multiple lots. If that's a lot. They're probably not going to read that. You might get 1 out of 100 people might look at it, but save time. Your condition statement, go into one of my listings, cut and paste that description thing. I took it from somebody else years ago and modified it, and over the years, and people have taken it from me and stuff. Just cut and paste that into your template. That will cover all the stuff about writing on the back, front, whatever. Never had an issue with it. I can't remember where I got it from, but it's a modified version of somebody I took. So just go out to one of my listings, cut and paste my condition statement, and use it. Don't reinvent the wheel. And then all your condition stuff needs to be there, is where eBay says the description is the description. The only time I do something different is there are major crease, tears, rips, or spots that are not covered under the boilerplate condition statement. No one's going to read it twice. I'm kind of passionate on this because I see a lot of it out there and people spend a lot of time. It's not worth it. It's not going to get you over the hill to get you in search or do all this other stuff. It just adds. You got to stop the people scrolling on their phones or looking on their computer. If they see a lot of stuff, if I'm buying something and I go down and look at the description and I see all these terms and conditions, I move on. I don't want the conversation with that seller. Or big bold letters, no returns accepted. I'm moving on. I don't care if it's good price or whatever. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to mess with it. I don't want the conversation. So you don't want to set yourself up for that. Not saying what you're doing is wrong. You might like the way this looks and stuff. I'm just telling you what I think. This is my spin. And then Brad said, is there a reason to put the title in the description field when it already appears in the title field? Not really. I replied to her and I just said, I had to put something there, so I just cut and paste that into the top of the description field. They do have that little checkbox up by the search bar in eBay where they can search in the description too. I don't think it's used that much, but I just cut and paste, put something down there. That's it. eBay does not recommend all this stuff, payment, shipping, and all that stuff into the description. Just leave it as for the product and stuff like that. Now, if you sell more than postcards, like stuff with serial numbers, model numbers, and stuff, you might end up doing some of that too. But eBay's trying to take a lot of that out and put it in item specifics, and people in their searches on those and stuff like that. But that's the poll. There was 42 so far, but these polls grow. I leave them out there all the time, forever. So you can always go to the community tab and look at the history for the last years on how things are. And then at the end of the year, I did it last year, I'm going to do it this year, I'm going to take all the polls and we're going to put together best practices for 2023. I'll do that video after the first of the year when all the polls are done, and I put it together, and I'll do 45 minutes to an hour video, and we'll go through each one of these. So you'll see all the polls for 2023 together. Everybody liked that video last year, and I liked doing it. It refreshed a lot of stuff I forgot. So I'll do that again this year in January. Okay, so I got some examples, what I found of some descriptions, just to prove a point. Now, I'm not going to show the sellers, well, I don't even know who the sellers are. They're not all postcards. They're different things. So the first one I found here is PayPal only for payment. This is what it looks like in the title. It says PayPal only for payment. We've been on managed payments. Yeah, they can pay by PayPal, but it's managed payments. So if you put that in 10,000 listings, would you have to go back and adjust that? Then U.S. bidders only. Set up your shipping profile with exclusions. They'll never get shown to people on there. No need to put, no one needs that. And then thanks for looking. You're not selling views, you're selling a product. You don't want people just to look, you want them to buy. You want to put your message here to buy. So this was in every item in his store. Probably been out there for years. PayPal. I see that all the time. Then the next one here is, I think it's sports cards. This is the description from the seller. You are bidding on the cards listed in the title. The cards is in near mint to mint condition. What's mint? $7.99 for standard repeat pack from China. Oh, this is the China seller. Fully tracked twice or 3 times. They put fully tracked in there. 8 to 12 business days to the U.S. So they put fully tracked 3 times. And then they said tracking no, or tracking number will be available and shipping status can be found on the USPS website. International shipping, they break out their shipping. Then they break out some combined shipping. Tracking number will be available and shipping can be found on China Post website. But they told us to go look at the USPS website. Items usually shipped in 3 business days, but they said it takes 12 days to get there. Then buyer's warning. This is a buyer warning. PayPal must be received no later than 5 days after the auction's closed. PayPal again. Why would you put buyer warning? So this is in all of their stuff. This doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it does something in the sports card world, but it's just poor English, very descriptive. It's just not what I want to put out in my store. Then the next one is the long one. 3 parts to this one, and we'll go through it pretty quick. And I got some arrows here just to point out some things. This is from an electronics part, an integrated circuit component that I was looking for, and I saw it. So the first thing is, I put an arrow here. This is eBay's checkout from now on. Please follow this, and this person tells them what to do. Please note the actual date codes may vary. Date codes, please contact us before you buy. The picture of your item may not be the actual item you receive. If you need specific, please context before you bid. But then you'll see how fast they get back to you in a second. So the picture of your item may not be what you get. So what are you going to get? Yeah, they can use stock photos on new items, but if it's a used or whatever item, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to put the item you're selling. But I would never use stock photos. Then they got all these links: add us to your favorites, check out our things, and then I blanked out the store name. So you want people to leave the listing and go look at other things. You want them in here and buy. And then please note, if you have any questions, go only use eBay messaging and stuff like that. Then this page here, payment methods. We accept PayPal. Contact for others. Managed payments will take care of that. Cancellation. If you must cancel your purchase, you may be subject to a $15 restocking fee. Restocking fee was taken away years ago. And then days of operation. When you can buy it. eBay and someone will get back to you. All this other stuff in there. No one's reading this. And then they have this checkout thing. And then you go down here. If you have any other questions, please contact us again. So there's 4 bullet points that I pointed out on this one. And then this is all in one description. The whole thing goes down the page. Then they have U.S. description. We do not offer local pickup. That's in the listing. If it doesn't say local pickup and it's shipping only, it doesn't. No one's going to read this. Then shipping calculator, not for U.S. territory. They want you to go out and calculate everything for Alaska, Hawaii, and international. Original shipping charges are not refundable under any circumstances. That's not true. And then you got these other things. Please do not bid unless you have a UPS account number to ship with, unless you are prepared to pay a premium overseas by payment. Whatever the shipping is what I'm paying. Whatever's in the listing. You can't recalculate that stuff on there. And then they get in there, we now use an eBay shipping calculator and all the stuff. They want you to go in there and calculate the stuff and what you're going to pay. This is ridiculous. No one's reading this and stuff on there. Somebody's just got too much time in their hands. That's what I mean about overboard. That's way overboard. It's an electronic component about this big. They're just going to put it in a bubble mailer. You know how many they could sell if they got rid of that stuff? That stuff's probably been out there forever. They're not managing their business. So you don't want to put a lot of stuff in your description that takes away from the product. There was more stuff in that description than it was about the product. He's selling his service, which sucks, you ask me, with all the stuff in there, not his product. I don't understand it. And then the other people talk about PayPal. So if you put in there managed payments only we take, or no returns, everybody knows that item described, you're going to get a return. You can't stop that, no matter what you put in there. Your terms and services doesn't override eBay's terms and services, conditions. That's all people got to say is item not described. You're getting a return. That's what it is. That's the poll on descriptions. Be very careful with what you put in there because you might have to change it. And over time, if you get 10,000 postcards, you can bulk edit it, but it doesn't look real good sometimes. They don't format it correctly all the time. So just be careful what you put in the descriptions. Use the drop downs and stuff as much as possible. That's what eBay wants you to do. Don't put all that stuff in there. No one's going to read it. I see it all the time where people say, contact me before you leave a negative. Or leave me good feedback and I'll leave you. No one's... That's old eBay. No one's reading this. And then people get upset because people do it differently and didn't read the thing and end up leaving a negative, didn't contact them. Well, they should have read my message. They didn't scroll down on their phone. They're not going to read it. They just want their product. People don't want to think. The harder you make it, the less you're going to sell. That's the poll. Then we get into viewer comments, and I got 6 comments here, but they'll go pretty quick. A lot of them are about the scanner video. So Sandy says, extremely helpful. Appreciate learning the state and feel more confident pricing. Learning the stats, not the states. Confident pricing. I also liked your Niagara Falls review. Hope you do more of those. Great to see what cards sell and which don't. So they watched the Niagara Falls thing where I went through different thing in the stats about that one has in there, I think, the graph about how many cards are listed in each price range. So you can do a sell-through rate on anything, and I put in there 0 to 99, $1 to $1.99, and most of the cards I think were in $2 to $3 is where most cards are priced on eBay. I'm in the 4 to 5, 4 to 8 range in there, and then not a lot were in the 10s. They were higher and stuff like that. So I go through a lot of that stuff. And that was my first round on that analytics. Thanks, Sandy. Jay Smith came in and said $300 seemed like a steal. That's on that lot of cards I bought with all the cabinets and stuff. $300 seems like a steal if you monetize the non-postcard stuff, even in bulk lots. Well, this year, like I said, I took my business and I went like this. I got rid of everything basically but postcards. I got a few little things I do, but all that other ephemera stuff I usually don't do. So that went into a box, and it's going to somebody that can use it. So I didn't deal with that. But it does seem like a steal, but there's a lot of average cards. You're going to tie your money up for a long time because those average cards don't sell as fast. The ones in the albums I did list, and I did receive my money, my $300 back, less than a week. There were some pretty good cards in some of them. They were the towns, Peabody, Hackett's Town, Peterson. People were buying the towns. So I hit on right time, right place with those, and I priced them to sell. So I was able to recoup that pretty quickly. But most of the cards in those boxes are average linens and stuff like that. They are going to take, longer to sell. So I would type the money, but I did stack the chips in my favor. I wasn't going to pay over $300 for that whole thing. I didn't need the inventory, and I didn't see anything that's going to break the bank. But thanks, Jay Smith, as always. Then Bold to Grow Pickers said, great video. I would love to grab a lot like that. This is about the same video on there. Even the average. My cost of goods is certainly higher than yours since I acquire smaller lots. Yeah, when you buy smaller cards, when I go to antique stores, I'm paying 50 cents to $1 a card. Pretty well average. I spent a couple hours the other day in Antique Mall. Picked up about 400 or 500 postcards. I paid $250, $300. But I know I can get my money back for the cards. Stuff like that. I have no problem cherry picking people's antique stores. I know I got to pay up on those. So I always put them in a separate stack. I know I have to increase it, my minimum price I start them at, because I paid up for them. They just don't go into the average. So I have no problem paying up for cards on there. But when you get big lots like that, you want to get those as cheap as possible. Fair deal for both, but just there's taxes, there's shipping, there's time. All that stuff's got to be figured in. You can't pay $2 a card and sell it for $5 to $8. You're going to get burned out. It's not worth the time. You want to have to recoup that money. And postcards are a long tail, most of them. And what's in those boxes, a lot of them will take longer to sell. So I'm going to tie up $300. But lucky in this one, I was able to get my money back, and now we move forward. Thanks, as always, Chris. Bold to Grow. Then Vince Kalanskowski, I destroyed that, sorry. Was a very helpful video, a lot less complicated than the owner's manual. That's on the 580W scanner I bought from Epson. Yeah, I just broke it down as I worked through it. There's other settings and stuff that I could get into, but I think I would have lost people. And I don't look at those settings either, but thanks, Vince. Then Henry's. Also, why is Hawaii in the foreign section? So during that cabinet haul video I bought, that $300 collection, Henry's noticed that I was going through the foreign drawer and Hawaii was in with the foreign things. Why is foreign in there? I have no idea. Is Hawaii foreign? So maybe I need to go look at that. Maybe it was pre-state, pre-statehood on there. so good catch. I didn't even catch that. Then Juggleman 9, Mark, the metal bins, same video with that. It's this video here. I keep pointing up there. Make sure I put it up there. Mark, the metal bins that the postcards are in sell good on Marketplace. I sold 3 sets at $30 each, advertising as small parts bins. They go quickly. Yeah, if I was still doing flea markets and this was 3 years ago, 2 years ago, definitely would have done all that. But this year, like I said, I took my business one like this. If it's anything but postcards, it just goes. Even if there's a few dollars, someone can use them. I don't need them. They did go fast. I put them on the curb on garbage day, and our junkers came by, picked them right up, and they were gone. So someone can use them. They get recycled or whatever. And they did go quick. But thanks for the tip on there. But right now, I just don't want to deal. I bought the postcards. I just let them go. I offered it to a couple other resellers, postcards, and they didn't want them. But that's the videos. So go out there, practice, get ready for the Olympics, see if you can win some gold, silver, bronze. That's all I got for today. Here's some fish to watch, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.